actually saw a tweet yesterday. This is just an aside. I can't remember who it was, but they said, about Johnny's turnovers. He's a guy that's kind of known for turning the ball over when he's trying to make plays. And I just wanted to respond.
That should make it acceptable in the NFL, right? Yeah,
All
sure.
right, let's move on let's move on to number 2. We're going to go way back in the storylines of the week because before yesterday I thought, Terrell Pryor, that story doesn't have legs anymore. He got released. He was the 53rd guy. The Browns kind of explained their thinking. Then all of a sudden, we see the tight ends can't catch. There's no playmakers. And all of a sudden, you're kind of wondering, was there really not room on this roster for Terrell Pryor? So, true or false, based off this tweet from Joe11W, who says the Browns could have really used a guy like Terrell Pryor in this situation. Is that true? Fedor, true or false? Terrell Pryor could have helped yesterday. You're not even writing.
I've got to digest this. I'm trying to figure out which situation my man Joe is talking about here.
When the Browns were on the field.
Okay,
How's
thanks,
that?
Bud. Appreciate you.
Bud's got something.
Clarification.
Let's start with Bud.
That's absolutely true. I said it was a mistake early in the week in letting a guy go who can at least command a little bit of attention. The pass to Brandon Marshall just proved it. If you have that easy way to get a touchdown, you're so much better off in the NFL than having to do it the way the Browns do it. They gave away a dynamic talent that they should have at least kept for a guy that can't play for 5 weeks. How could that not be a mistake?
Dynamic talent?
Dynamic talent.
False. I couldn't think of one situation where Terrell Pryor would have helped the team yesterday because he doesn't know how to play the position that he tried out for. Yes, Bud brings up Brandon Marshall, and he's got the size, and he's got the strength, and he's got the athleticism. You know what else he has? Wide receiver skills, because he's been a wide receiver his entire career. He knows how to get open. He knows how to position his body. Terrell Pryor doesn't understand the nuances of the position, so just asking him to go out there and be big and be fast and be athletic, he's not going to help your team that way.
Yeah, work in progress. I'm sorry, cohort. That's false. I don't believe that Terrell Pryor could have impacted the game for the Browns in a strong fashion yesterday. And Bud, you're assuming that Mike DiFilippo is going to find creative ways to get him the football? Where is that going to come from?
He was as of last Wednesday's practice trying to find creative plays for him.
There's no evidence of that whatsoever. None.
That he was running plays for Pryor in practice?
That there was going to be success in that. We saw no evidence of it.
Hey, if you're going to tell me, as Mike Pettin just did, that the hint of Terrell Pryor was going to make the Jets spend time preparing for him, you can't tell me that running him in motion in the backfield wouldn't get some attention. I know he couldn't have averaged what Isaiah Crowell did on the ground yesterday.
Woo! Look,
come on. Whoa.
I like Mike Pettin. I really do. But in this organization, just with Ray Farmer and then with Mike Pettin and all of the, Terrell Pryor is going to make the Jets have to think about something else. Sometimes this organization just has this air of we're smarter than everyone else. Mm-hmm. And then they go out and they lose a game like that.
You
they
don't
wasted
say.
practice time.
With the way that
yeah, right?
You don't say.
We don't need to go to pro days. That's not how we operate. It's just, anyway. Last one, we're going to talk about the running backs. True or false? Isaiah Crowell, Duke Johnson, Sean Drone, the running backs are to blame for the struggles in the running game yesterday. Or was it the offensive line? So true or false, the running backs are to blame for the struggles in the running game yesterday. Michael?
Yeah, I know I'll be unpopular here, but that's okay. I've got big shoulders. I'm going to tell you that's true. And while the offensive line did not particularly get the type of push they wanted, remember now, this was what the New York Jets were doing, were game plan specific, knowing that the Cleveland Browns were going to run the football. You turn on your television any Saturday or Sunday, and I'll show you running backs that thrive with yards after contact, with take hits and continue to get yards and to be able to move chains. Look, I'm not talking about guys that are elite here. The Browns running backs, to me, and I'm a little surprised because of Wilbert Montgomery, a guy I have a love. They don't hit holes with the proper gusto. Their vision, to me, is something that leaves a lot to be desired. I'm not absolving the offensive line completely, but stop with this stuff that every time a quarterback gets sacked or a running back is stopped for no gain, oh, it's the offensive line's fault. I get so tired of that. There's responsibility on these running backs. They're not getting the job done. They need to play better.
Fedor?
I say true, and I understand that the Jets have a great rush defense. They were 5th in the NFL last year. They allowed 3 100-yard rushers. But come on, at some point, these guys have to produce. Last year, the excuse was in the second half of the season, well, Alex Mack wasn't there, so forget about how bad Terrence West and Isaiah Crowell were in the second half, because when Alex Mack comes back, everything's going to be fixed. Well, 55 was out there, right?
He was out
and
there.
Isaiah Crowell had
and didn't
12
play that
carries.
well, by the by, either.
12 carries for 20 yards? I mean, just fall forward and you pick up more than that on 12 carries. I've got a big question about the running game at this point, and that's what their identity is supposed to be.
I'm on the right side of history again.
Oh, my goodness.
Anytime I'm against these two, I feel pretty good. Hey, I didn't see any holes yesterday. If you're going to tell me that
Isaiah Crowell?
If you're going to tell me that Isaiah Crowell lacked vision, all he saw was a rock and a hard place. There were no holes in that. And don't tell me about how great this offensive line is. You're going to add to your sacred Joes? How about Joe L. Batonio? Huh? I mean, we keep hearing about him as an all-pro guard. Great. I think he had a good season last year. But I didn't see anybody getting any push off that offensive line.
Well, I'm with you about not anointing the O-line.
They were beaten up physically by their defensive line. They were beaten up physically on the other side of the football by the Jets' offensive line.
All right. There you have it. Here, we got a photo we want you guys to take a look at. If you're in the comments, jump in there. This is Tony Romo and the officials. Guys, I want you to come up with some captions for this. You got anything? I mean, that was a disaster of clock management last night, but that helped out Romo. But what have you got?
Should we write these out, Dan?
No.
Just go.
Go ahead. Go for it.
What do you got, Fedor?
Tony turning to the guy and saying, "Hey, Bubba, your fly is down."
Wow. I've got saying, "Hey, man, look, your contacts. There they are, right there. Pick them up and put them in."
I think he's saying, your cell phone's ringing. It's Jerry Jones.
All right, Tony Romo, the Cowboys somehow win that game. Well, not somehow. They win the game because the Giants don't know how to manage a clock.